Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the concept of .NET assemblies in C#. So let's check out what and all is being covered in assemblies. Okay, mainly what do you mean by an assembly? It's a collection of various blocks or various sectors into a single one. Okay, so you can say a framework consists of various assembly. Your assembly, it may be a C# assembly, Java assembly, it may be a .NET assembly, it may be a Perl.NET, VB.NET, all those comes under this one particular framework. So each language is said to be considered as an assembly. Okay, so let's check one by one what and all features are there. So what do you mean by an assembly? It is a application which is being constructed by piecing together any number of assemblies. It's nothing but all the applications which are there, which are said to be combined into a single one, that is called as an assembly. Okay, all the applications which are said to be combined with a single one, that is said to be your assembly. Okay, and these assemblies are said to be versionable. They are said to be self-described. Versionable means what? You can use multiple versions at a time, different versions, the versions can be rebuilt, all those features are there. So that comes under this assembly versioning part. Then you have multiple modules. Assembly can be either made up of multiple modules, multiple sectors. So a single program, it doesn't mean that it is executed with only one module, one language only. It can combine multiple languages also. That is called as multiple modules, which is there in the assembly. Okay, and a module is a generic term of .NET binary. Mainly it is said to be a term which is said to be of the .NET binary. Okay, so which is said to be combined. So remember these concepts. An assembly, what is an assembly? It is constructed with multiple assemblies at a time. It is versionable and it is said to be combining multiple modules at a time, and the modules are said to be in the concept of binary file, which are said to be the main aspects of the file is that it will be stored in the binary register. Okay, so that is said to be your assembly part. Okay, so let's check which are the roles, or you can say benefits of the .NET assembly. The benefits is that the code can be reused. One of the benefit is that the code can be reused, and it is not said to be having a boundary. Okay, within that particular boundary only. Type boundary is nothing but when I am declaring the syntax, when I am declaring something in one language, it can be used within this particular framework only. It cannot be going out of the framework. That is the boundary part. And versionable, as I said, it can be having different versions at a time. It may accept different kinds of versions like a major, minor, build, rebuild concept is there. That is part of the versioning, that uses the versions part. And the .NET assemblies are said to be self-describing. Your C# .NET assembly, it may be Perl, it may be Java, it may be VB. All those languages are said to be self-describing. They describe themselves. Okay, and the .NET assemblies, they are said to be facilitating the deployment concept. Deployment is nothing but they are said to be combining all the features, displaying all the features within a single application. That is said to be the role of your .NET assembly. Okay, or you can say benefits. In this .NET assembly, you have multiple components. Okay, you can say the format of the .NET assembly, or you can say the components of the .NET assembly. The components are Win32 file header is there, which is one of the component. Then you have the CLR file header, which is another component. CIL code, each and every time when you are said to be executing any of the program, it will be converted into a CIL code. It is common intermediate language, whichever language is there within the system. To that language it will be converted. That is your CIL. Then you have the type metadata, which is there. Another you have assembly manifest, and you have optional embedded resources, which are the components of the .NET assembly. So let's check one by one what is the working of these assemblies. Okay, this is your Win32 file header. The file header, mainly you can see any of the files which are there, it will be stored in the DLL, dynamic link library. It will be stored, and for that dynamic link library, it will be fetching all the signatures, its details, and where it is being stored, every information is being fetched with the machine, with the section which it belongs to, the file it belongs to, then the size of the file, whether it is executable or not executable, or any changes are being done within the programmatic concept which is called as stripped, all those details, and it is in the format of 32-bit format. So that everything it will be displayed in the Win32 file header. Okay. Then you have the CLR file header. So CLR here also it's the same, but it is the basic building block of the any of the .NET frameworks. Okay. So it here also it dumps all the files into the DLL. Then it provides the CLR header. With the version of the file, it will be providing the metadata, nothing but which file, what module, which module it is getting connected, that information you can get. You get the resources which are being used, strong names which are being applied for it, then the virtual tables which are being considered, where you store the data into the tables and getting the data from the tables, that information, and exporting of the data, where you are said to be exporting this file. Exporting is nothing but whether you are said to be your file is having any external link. So that external link it may fetch your data. So that information it will be there in the CLR. It is nothing but common language runtime. Okay, that information it is being present in this particular file header. Then you have a metadata. What do you mean by metadata? It defines the code, mainly what type of code it is there and which part of the code is being used within the format, what language it is being used, and it supports multiple languages at a time. So this description of the assembly here it describes the identity of the file, name, version, culture, public key, everything it provides. Then the type where it is said to be exported, that information it is said to be present in the metadata. Other assemblies which are said to be using your particular assembly, that information, and the permission for the file it will be present in the metadata. Here it will provide the name of the file, the class, everything, interfaces, visibility, nothing but access modifier, that is public, private, internal, those access modifier information, the members of the file, everything, then elements which are being used within the programmatic concept, everything it will be present in the metadata. Okay. Then you have the assembly manifest. Assembly manifest, it's the collection of data which are being used within the programmatic concept. So the collection of the data which is being considered here, mainly it involves the identity of the file which are being used, the name, the version number, optional, culture, public, private, everything it will be there. That information, the list of files within the module which is being used, that information it will be there. Referenced assemblies are nothing but the assemblies. Okay, I fetch a window from any other external assembly, I fetch a symbol from any other external assembly, then that is said to be your referenced assembly. And exported types, okay, I may be exporting my file into another resource, another file, then that is said to be your exported types. And the resources, and whichever resources I may be using a text box, I may be using a toolbox, I may be using whichever tools which are there, those tools are said to be present in this particular manifest. Okay, and even this manifest consists of the permission also. What do you mean by permission is nothing but, okay, which file I am using and whether I am able to modify that particular file or not, whether I am able to run or not, that is said to be present in this permission part. And okay, I give the permission, but then also I am restricting some part of the things, that is said to be your another part. And fully I am not granting the permission to use the data. One is allow, not allow, and partial allow is being there in the manifest. Okay, this is your manifest part. And last part in the .NET assembly is your optional assembly resources. Assembly resources are nothing but the other features which are being used within the programmatic concept. The features are, I may use an application icon, I may use an image file, I may use a sound clip, I may use a sound table, I may use a video, everything that comes under the optional assembly resources. So remember, in the components of the assembly, you have the Win32 header, you have the Win32 file header, then you have CLR file header, then you have metadata, you have assembly manifest, and you have the optional assembly resources. And you have the CIL code. What do you mean by the CIL code? Is nothing but it's a code which is being written within the programmatic concept. Okay, when I am writing any of the program, that program it will be run in such a way the specific instructions are said to be only read and understood by the system. That is said to be your CIL code, and it will be using the concept of just in time compiler. Whenever it is necessary, when at runtime I want to run the code and execute the code, at that time you are using the JIT compiler, and everything whatever you are said to be doing, it will be present in the binary register. Okay, everything it stores in the binary register, and whatever conversion it will be in the binary format only within the system. And it involves the concept of the metadata within the CIL code. CIL code, which file, what is the file name, which file is said to be transmitting the information, where it is said to be referencing, everything information, it will be even present in the CIL code. Okay, common intermediate language code. Okay, these are the parts of your .NET assembly or components of the .NET assembly. Okay, thank you.